Hello and welcome to all in this session. And with this, we are going to start our series on architectures. In this series, first architecture is MVI, and these are the topics that we are going to cover in this particular session. The very first thing we will do is we will try to understand MVI architecture conceptually, and in the last, we will try to understand it with the help of coding sample. For your convenience of understanding, I have divided this particular session into multiple chapters. So if you want to understand any particular topic, then you can click on the timeline and can navigate to a specific part. So let's move to our first topic. What is MVI? So MVI has already gained lots of momentum on the Android platform due to its tremendous compatibility with the functionally active style programming. Even on the iOS platform, developers have started adopting this architecture widely. With the frameworks like Combine, SwiftUI, this architecture integrates seamlessly and provides you few very unique benefits like unidirectional data flow, single source of truth. By implementing the concept of states, this MVI architecture becomes very easy to debug. If we talk about family orientation of this particular architecture, this belongs to MVX family. The other architectures are MVP, MVVM, and then it comes to MVI. Now you understand from where this MVI architecture is coming from. And in the next topic, we will try to understand in which particular condition we should use MVI architecture. So to know about a good architecture is an important thing. But what is more important? More important is you understand the situation where you should use that particular architecture. So if in your application, you need to maintain a single source of truth, what does it mean? It means you are having a state or you are having a model in which you are having some data. And the same data needed to be reflected on the multiple screens. Like in the diagram you can see, we are having a state 01 and the same state needed to be reflected on view 01, 02 and 03. So there is a single source of information and the same information needed to be reflected on the multiple screens. So if you are in such kind of situation, in that case, MVI is a good choice for the architecture. And the second point is, suppose you are having a mid-size application and this is suitable for the MVP type architecture. But right now there is a trend of functionally active programming. So you can opt out for the MVI one. So there are three major components of MVI architecture. One is model, second is view, and third is intent. But before jumping into the details of these components, first try to understand what exactly the unidirectional data flow property of MVI architecture. So in the diagram, you can see at the bottom we are having the user. And whenever user is taking any action or doing any interaction, then this action is reaching to my intent layer. And the responsibility of intent is to modify or to manipulate the model layer that is on the top. And that modified data is reaching to my view or my view controller. And after that, view controller or the view are responsible to display that data to my user. So you can see there is a complete unidirectional circle is going for the data, that is coming from the user, reaching to the intent, then it goes to the model, and then is reaching to the view or the view controller, and from the view controller it is reaching to my user. So there is a unidirectional data flow happening in the MVI architecture. And this unidirectional data flow basically helps you in maintaining the predictability of the data, and ultimately it helps into the debugging of the application, because every time you are sure that from where data is coming as a source and where is the destination point for that particular data thing.
You have understood the concept of unidirectional data flow. Now pay close attention. We are going deep dive into the components of MVI architecture. So there are four major components: user, intent, model, view and the view controller. But there are two more components also that plays very important role in the MVI architecture, and these are reducer and the store. First of all, we will try to understand each and every component individually, and then we will try to understand how these components interact with each other in order to implement the complete system. So the first component that we are going to understand is model. So model in MVI architecture is basically responsible to represent a particular state of your application. So what does this state means? We can understand this with the help of an example. Suppose you are having a view controller or you are having a screen on which you are having a UI table view. So three possible states for that UI table view can be: data is loading, data has been loaded, or there is no data. So against the each state of that particular view controller or that particular UI table view, you need to define a model in MVI architecture. And these models are basically known as states. One important property of these states are they are immutable. So they are recreated every time inside the reducer layer. And one more benefit that this model state it provides you a single source of information for a particular application state. So whenever a new state is generated by the reducer, it goes inside the store layer. And the responsibility of store is to hold and emit all the generated states by the reducer against the user action. So you can see store is the single source of truth for a particular application state. And from this point, your view or the view controller can get the information. Now we will try to understand the remaining components of MVI architecture. So whenever user provides any input in your application, that input very first reaches to the intent layer. And the responsibility of intent layer is to convert that action into some new state. And intent perform this particular task with the help of reducer layer. In MVI architecture, reducers are implemented with the help of some function. And reducer takes the input from the intent and generates some new state. There are two more responsibility for the intent layer. One is whenever a new state is generated, intent layer basically conveys this state to the store layer. And intent also provides a binding to the view or the view controller to the store layer, so that anytime whenever a new state is generated, view controller or the view should be observing that. View and the user layer are as usual as we have in every architecture. User is an external actor, and view and the view controller are having the responsibility of displaying the data to the user according to the action taken by him. So now you understand each and every component in the MVI architecture. Let's revise the flow once more. So whenever user is taking any action, it is reaching to the intent, and with the help of reducer, intent is converting that action into some new state, and this new state is getting reached to the store with the help of intent, and intent also providing the binding with the help of that my view or the view controller is observing to store for any newly generated state. And whenever any new state is getting generated, with the help of this binding, view or the view controller is displaying the data to the user according to the action taken by him. So this is the complete unidirectional flow that is happening with the help of all these components in the MVI architecture. Now you understand all the components of MVI architecture, you know the complete flow also. So this is the best time to jump into the code sample. For the sample, we are going to build a very simple application, that is vaccination slot tracker. With the help of this particular app, any person can check that which slot is dedicated to which particular employee. So this is a simply display only application. Whenever user is pressing the next button, he can see that which employee is having which particular slot assigned. So first step of the implementation is to define the model for the employee, and this is done with the help of this struct employee, which is having three properties: name, date, and the slot of a string data type. And the second step is to create the state.swift file that will basically contains all the possible state for your application, and this is done with the help of protocol state. This protocol state is having two variables. One is employee, that is array of type employee, and the index, that is int, that is basically used to track the current index of selected employee. With the help of this protocol, we will define two more states for your application. One is initial state, that is the starting state of the application, and which is holding the array of all the employee objects in this particular variable, and the index will be 0 because the starting index will be 0 for the initial state of your application. Second struct application state will basically define the state of your application at a particular instant. So this will be holding, because it is following the protocol state, so this will be holding two variables again, that is employee, which will be containing only one object inside the array, and the index just to track the current selected employee index. So this is the file where you need to define all the possible states for your application. Next part is the implementation of the store, and this is implemented as the global variable. So main store is of type behavior relay that will contain the object of type state, and it is initialized with the initial application state, and this is the place where all the possible states of your application will be emitted, and that will be observed by view or the view controller. You already know that reducers are implemented with the help of function in MVI architecture. So in the reducer struct, we are having a function getNextState, which basically takes the current state of your application with the global variable main store, and whatever processing is required to be done, this is done inside the reducer layer only, and according to that, whatever new state is getting generated, this is returned by the reducer function. So the job of reducer is to get the current state from the main store, and whatever processing is required to be done, this is done by the reducer only, and whatever new state is getting generated, it should be returned by the reducer to the intent layer. Next important layer to implement is intent, and intent is the place where we are having the object of reducer, and we are also having the reference of my view controller. So one important thing is to pay attention is the reference of view controller is created as the weak variable, because view controller is also having the reference of the intent. So just to avoid any kind of cyclic reference problem, the variable that is holding the reference of view controller should be declared as weak. Now there are three important functions inside the intent layer. One is onNext, second is present new application state, and third is bind. So the objective of onNext function is to generate the new application state on the basis of the user action. So you can see the new state is getting generated with the help of getNextState function of the reducer, and after that, this newly generated state is getting conveyed to the main store with the help of present new application state function. And the third function is bind. So the objective of bind is to make your view or the view controller as an observer of your main store. So here your view controller has subscribed to the updates of main store, and whenever any new state is getting generated inside the main store, then your view controller is calling the update function. That update function we will discuss later. So whenever any new state is getting generated inside the main store, this update is reaching to the view controller, and according to that, view controller is updating the UI view. So this is the implementation of the intent layer. Till this point, you have implemented all the major part of the MVI architecture. Now only part remaining is just to implement the coordination of these layers inside the view controller. So in the view controller, you can see we are having a variable intent that is used to own the intent object. With the help of this intent object, we are calling the bind method, and the purpose of bind method you have already understood, that it is basically making your view controller as an observer for the main store. And the bind next button is basically binding the tap of your next button press to the onNext function of the intent object or the intent layer. And with the help of onNext, intent is basically generating the new state for your application with the help of reducer layer. And as your view controller has already set as an observer for the main store, so whenever any new state is getting generated, then this update function is getting called. All this implementation you have already seen in the intent layer. So whenever this update method is getting called, your employee level, your data level, and the slot level, that all are getting updated with the help of newly generated state. So this is overall implementation of state, store, reducer, and the intent and your view layer. And now we can run our application. So now here you can see your application has been loaded with the initial state, and whenever you are clicking on the next button, then the new state is getting generated inside the intent layer, and your application UI is getting updated according to the action taken by the user. So this was the complete implementation of the MVI architecture. Now it's time to understand the benefits and the demerits of MVI architecture. So on the screen, you can see top 4 benefits of MVI architecture. And the first is easy predictability and the tracking of data. In one of the previous discussion, you have already understood that MBI architecture supports unidirectional flow of the data. So this property of MBI architecture provides you a very easy predictability and easy tracking of the data, because every time you are pretty much sure from where data is coming and what is the destination point of that particular data object. Second point is thread safety due to immutable states. So all the states in the MBI architecture are basically immutable. So they are recreated every time inside the intent layer. And due to this immutable nature, they are very much thread safe into multi-threading environment. Third benefit of MBI architecture is easy debugging. So the unidirectional flow of the data inside MBI architecture and representation of all the possible states of the application at one place gives you a very predictable and very easy environment for the debugging. And the last benefit is reactive style. So that thing you have already understood, that this complete MBI architecture is built around the concept of functional reactive programming. So it supports this concept very well. These are the top 4 demerits of MBI architecture. First is more code needed due to states concept. So this thing you have already observed, that for every possible application state, you need to have a model representation inside MBI architecture. And due to this nature, you need to write little bit more code in comparison of other architectures. Second demerit is memory consumption. So when you are creating lots of objects for every possible application state and you are also doing the binding to your views, then it ultimately results in more memory consumption in comparison of other architectures. Third demerit is break single responsibility principle in reducer layer. So in MBI architecture, we used to write all the business logic or all the processing logic inside the reducer layer only, and it results in the breaking of single responsibility principle. There are multiple ways to avoid this particular problem, and that we can discuss in any further discussion. Fourth demerit is store can eat up memory in the larger application. So if you are having a very large application and you are trying to maintain a single source of truth in the form of the single store, then the accumulation of each and every newly generated state inside the store can eat up much more memory, because store will remain alive till the lifetime of your application, and this become a memory problem. Till this point, you have gone through each and every aspect of the MBI architecture, and now at the last, I have a bonus section for you, that is interview questions. So these 5 are very important interview questions that anyone can ask in the context of MBI architecture. First question is, where you will put data or the API calls in the MBI architecture. And second, how you can improve single responsibility principle in the reducer layer. Third is there any alternative to MBI architecture? Fourth question is, how to reduce memory problem in the MBI architecture. And fifth, and the last one and the most easy one, what is MBI architecture and when to use it. So you can try finding out the answer of these questions on the internet or by yourself, but in case if you are unable to find answer of any question, then you can write me an email on my email ID, that is venugopaltiwari@gmail.com. I would be happy to help you. So here it ends one of the longest sessions till now. Our objective is just to provide you a quick, easy and the simple learning. For the latest update, you can subscribe our channel, press the bell icon, or you can also follow us on the Facebook page. So till our next session, stay motivated and keep learning with us. Thank you.